You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey everyone, you are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I am your Getting Over COVID co-host, Rich.
And I'm Des, coming to you live from the beautiful Xavier School in Westchester. Westchester by way of Canada, so Toronto.
Canada?
Yeah, that's where they shot the movies. This house right here, it's in Toronto.
Oh.
So this big mansion is in Toronto.
Well, it was also Arrow's mansion too, I believe.
It's been a lot of
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. It's been around.
You are watching us on The Experience, and you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends about this. There are shows on every day. Head to comicshoppingexperience.com to see when those shows are on, what's on. Some of the shows are sale shows. You can claim all your books through there. And, of course, sign up with the mailing list. Oh, it's been a week, let me tell you.
I bet. I mean, I know. I wasn't sure we were going to be doing this, but
Yeah.
Your healing factor kicked in. So.
Yeah, my healing factor.
Yeah.
So I tested negative the day my husband tested positive. So unfortunately, Beardy Coog has it now, and he is actually sleeping.
And Rue's taking care of both of you, huh?
Rue's taking, yes, with her little paws. She's really trying.
God, cooking soup and stuff.
So I didn't eat for the first 4 days. I was not hungry. I'm still really not hungry. I eat for necessity now, not to eat. So
that's a hell of a diet right there.
It really, I don't recommend it to anyone, but it really is.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better.
My voice is a little off today, so you'll have to excuse me. I also took a lot of cough syrup so that I'm not coughing and hacking up a lung on the show.
I appreciate it. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Thanks
Kenneth,
for coming in. Hi, Paul.
Hey,
Hi,
Paul.
I.E. Gannon Jr. Zelda reference, maybe. Want to say again, thank you all for joining us. We're going to want to say thank you, and also the Experience is running a little not a contest. They want to get up to 2,500 likes and shares and everything on their
platform,
YouTube, on their platform. So if you could definitely tell your friends, they will be giving away different prizes once they hit that threshold. So please let everyone know. And yeah, hi Jabroni.
Chief.
So gonna start with something new today. Oh, you are. Oh, that is fantastic! Congratulations. They hit it.
Next is 5,000.
Oh Lord, yes. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this hype train going. Although we don't know if they're going to be giving anything away yet. So, so just thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed. And yeah, that's an awesome milestone. So let's keep going. But
for our sure to head to Facebook to the Geek Chat as well. Give us a like and a follow,
please. So the first thing we're going to talk about, usually in our first section, we talk about TVs, movies, and now news. Because we wanted to talk about comic book news because it's coming fast and furious. First thing I wanted to talk about was what happened with Ultimate Black Panther this past week. How crazy that was. If you don't know, it looks like Black Panther sold out everywhere. And a lot of that I think was due to the shipper losing, what was it, 25 or 25,000 or 15,000.
So
15,000.
so Marvel left Diamond Comics
Yep.
and went to Penguin. I have a brain fog too. Penguin, Random House, uh,
Distributors.
Publishing, yeah, and they lost or misplaced, I should say, a lot of comic books, which is a little ridiculous and a little suspect. So a lot of retailers did not get their full orders, and people like Mr. Desmond had to pay an exorbitant amount for a copy. How much
Yeah, I paid $12.99 for my copy of Black Panther #1. It was pretty
Ultimate Black
crazy.
Panther?
Ultimate Black Panther #1. So I think, um,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if they fell off a truck experience, but they were definitely somewhere.
somewhere.
My 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 comic book, guy was like, yeah, we some places are selling them for like $20 a pop, and we wanted to, like, price it as a way to get extra money, because, like, hey, supply and demand and all that, but they didn't want to make it so bad that no one would buy it. So they struck a kind of a marginal at $12.99, and I said, okay. I wanted to read the story, and
Oh, thanks.
yeah, and thank you, Jay Burns. We really appreciate you guys as a community, you all as a community as well. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, so I was very surprised, and yeah, the online dealers were sold out, as well as many comic book shops around me in the Bay Area did not have it. So I was pretty crazy with that. So to be completely honest with me, I get my comics from Rich. So technically, I didn't have to pay more for it.
No, but once I found out, I'm like, oh, we're gonna charge you $11.
$11.
$11.99.
Give me that dollar off. No, but I bought it for a friend of mine, because he usually gets his stuff online, and all the
were
places
out.
online, and he's in Fresno, and all of the places in Fresno did not get it. So that's crazy. Unless you had a saver. So, but yeah, everyone just it's crazy. Plus, the dealer that I go to, the comic shop that I go to, because I go from Rich and then I go to another local comic book shop as well, because I've been trained from a little kid to go to the comic book store. So every Wednesday, that's what I do, and like clockwork. If you need to assassinate me, do it on a Wednesday.
You know to do it. Yeah, Wednesday.
So yeah, it was so then I went in and I got it, and it was just a very, like, I'm just very surprised that, and it just goes to show, number one, scarcity, and number two, how good the Ultimate Universe is, because they were saying, the comic place that I go to was saying that they were very surprised at how well Spider-Man #1 did,
yeah,
and how strong the Ultimate presence has been under Hickman's direction. So I was like, oh wow. Plus it was Black Panther was also on the coattails and gaining that success from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I really wonder what this means for X-Men, which is the next book coming out.
And so the funny thing is, I don't know if a lot of people watching know this, but we have to order comic books 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, especially through the holidays, when we ordered these, Marvel, DC, all the
3 weeks or 3
retailers,
months in advance.
So it's 2 months for initial orders.
Okay.
But there's a thing called final order cutoff.
Okay.
Which is usually supposed to be 3 weeks. Then we order our final numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But through the holidays, the different publishers like to game us, the retailers, and they'll might make us order things with no numbers to gauge. So, for example, we'll have the number 1 on order. They'll make us order the 2 and maybe sometimes the 3 with no numbers to gauge. So when we had to order Ultimate Black Panther and we just ordered Ultimate X-Men, we really only had Ultimate Spider-Man numbers to go on, and Ultimate Spider-Man numbers were through the roof. They did amazing for a lot of stores.
Yep.
So Black Panther has a built-in name around it. The writer and the artist does. And then Peach Momoko, people are banking on her name, depending on how well Demon Wars did for you.
Yep.
So it's interesting that not only was this book going to be in demand because Ultimate Spider-Man did so well, retailers had no clue how to order Ultimate Black Panther. Well, then you add in the missing X amount of copies on top of that, making Ultimate Black Panther even more in demand.
Yep.
And retailers should have known something when Ultimate Black Panther #1 second printing was on our form or our to order. Something was up. Yes. So
the fix was in a New Jersey accent.
so I do think that the book was, we're going to be reviewing it.
Yeah.
You're going to hear our comments on it in the second section. I am very excited to see what now Peach Momoko brings. And if the success of the 2 books will mean Marvel will then maybe add more. I don't want them to add more right now.
Not
I want
oversaturate.
that's exactly it.
Mhm.
I don't want them to flood the market with Ultimate books.
Agreed.
This is a brand new universe, and the rollout so far has been pretty good.
Yep. So that's it for Ultimate Black Panther. The second thing we wanted to talk about was the end of an era, I guess we could say. Rob Liefeld has stated that he is leaving Deadpool.
After 33 years.
After 33 years, Rob Liefeld,
So he has one more book coming out.
And that's it. He said
and then he says he's done. But
Yeah.
what is coming out this year?
But
what's coming out?
Daredevil 3, of course.
A little movie.
Yeah.
So he's gonna ride high on that money he gonna be getting.
And I don't blame him. Get your money, sir. It ain't the 90s anymore. But I tell you, like, he was one of the guys out of all of those Image guys. I think he was the one that really personified that comic book artist as a rock star.
Do you remember the Levi's commercial?
Oh yeah. I remember that on MTV coming out, and I was like, whoa. And then just like, it was just interesting, that he was like that. I'll tell you a story real quick. So I go to cons. I've been going to cons since I was in high school. So I've my first con was WonderCon in Oakland, 1992. So yeah, so I'm that old. Anyway, I just had a birthday, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone wish Desmond a happy birthday. His birthday was a couple days ago.
So,
he just turned the ripe old age of 84.
Thank you.
Yeah, 84.
84.
87.
It's funny, I mean, I'm 84, but someone that's 184, you look great.
I know.
You look great. Thank you, everybody. Yes, black really doesn't crack. It's crazy. But no, so I met him. I've met him a couple times, just in passing and seeing books and stuff like that. And this was at the height. Thank you, everybody. This was at the height of his kind of like, career and whatnot, when X-Force was popping off and all that. And I was a huge fan of Longshot, and Arthur Adams, great, love Longshot, love Arthur Adams, love the Longshot miniseries that they did, got that signed by Arthur Adams. And I never forget, it was him, it was Jim Lee, I think it was Mark Silvestri, Eric Larson, and Rob Liefeld, and they were all at a table, right? And they were all at Marvel. This is long before Image, and they were all there signing, right? And this is when you could get a signature for free, right? And I never forget, Jim Lee signed the X-Men, Mutant Mass, Acts of Vengeance for the Mandarin, and the first appearance of Psylocke as Lady
Lady
Mandarin.
Mandarin.
He signed Jim Lee across the X-Men all the way at the top, and I was like, I gave it away to a friend for a birthday. I should have kept it, but anyway. I met Rob Liefeld, and I said, "Oh my god," because he had just created. They just did Shatterstar, and Shatterstar is from Mojo's universe, the Mojoverse. And I was like, "Oh, did you talk to Arthur Adams or Rand Shetty about Shatterstar when you were building up the character?" And he was like, "No, why would I do that? It's my character." And I'm like, "Well, I was just saying, for reference because he's from their world." No, that's my creation. I created that character. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, thanks, good to know." It's just the arrogance. But again, he was young, he was at the top, he was the people loving him, bags were plenty, guns were bigger. It's like, he was in it to win it. So I'll never forget meeting him and just looking at him and being like, wow, Rob Liefeld. But I was in it to win it with the hype. And I read Youngblood, and so to see him say that I'm not going to be doing anything Deadpool anymore, that's such a rock star thing to do. It's like this is my final tour, and then I won't be doing anything anymore. And I'm like, whatever.
How many times have we had Cher's final tour?
Or
how many
Kiss,
times have
or
Elton John said final tour?
He'll be back. He'll be back. And then,
I don't believe that he's over. I think for now he's like, you know what? I'm putting it on the shelf. I'm done for a bit. Yep. I'm gonna enjoy the year for the Deadpool movie. Yep. Who knows? And in 5 years he'll get the itch.
He'll do it again.
He'll do it again. I also have been a fan of his. His art for me was bombastic. I guess that's the word I would use, because it was not like anything else I had read. It was dynamic. I did not care that arms did not look like arms,
or people had very small mouths and very small noses.
It was new and fresh. And I remember reading Marvel Age. Remember Marvel Age?
Of course.
And I remember him introducing. He had. I think this might be foreshadowing for my life. There was a character that he was going to introduce in the New Mutants called Cougar, and I was like, this pretty cool character. It never happened, but the way he drew Warlock, the way he drew hair, and Shatterstar's weird half cape,
and the two-pronged sword, Domino with her weird ass bob.
Oh my god! And everyone's like.
Super long legs.
Their headpieces, like everyone's headpieces was so just there.
Yeah, this giant mantled headpieces.
He was an artist for a generation who didn't know. We were just there to experience, like you said, Arthur Adams. The 90s had spectacular art.
Yep,
that's kind of the difference between the art medium now.
Yeah,
like. They all did. I mean, Eric Larson has a very distinct style. Yep. Mark Silvestri, very distinct style. Like the 90s just served.
They influenced a lot of people.
Yes.
Influenced a lot of people. So whether you hate him or love to hate him, Rob Liefeld will be missed for his Deadpool stuff. That doesn't mean he's not going to be doing comics ever again.
No,
man's
he's going to be doing
anything.
Right.
He's still making comics. You can buy them. So it's just,
but like I said, he will have one more story coming out later this year. So
I'm very happy. So
yeah.
Alrighty then. So you know what that means? It's on to the new comics of the week. At this show, we love to do number ones. And for this one, we have a couple of very interesting number ones that are off the beaten path. If you've been listening to us for a while, I was very shocked when Rich said that he wanted to review these books. And I said, sure, of course. So the first one we did was Darkwing Duck Justice Ducks. So that's so I sent you the cover C. I didn't realize they had this.
So this is the homage cover. Do you know what that's homaging?
Yeah, it's the Justice League.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic. So I thought that should have been the regular cover, but this is the regular cover right here, which you can't see
You can't
because
see
there you
because of
go.
your
That
weird,
face. My
yes.
weird background. So anyway, um, yeah. So I think you wanted to read this because you and I are 90s kids and we watched all these cartoons when they
Even the new
were,
one.
yeah, even the new ones and stuff like that. So if you're not familiar with Justice Ducks, it's basically all of the characters that were in Darkwing Duck, and a couple of other duck related properties. So that would be Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, pretty much, because Darkwing Duck was a
Spin-off.
spinoff of Tailspin, not Tailspin, Tailspin,
DuckTales.
DuckTales. Thank you. Tailspin was the Baloo one,
Yeah.
and he was chartering planes and stuff. So such good cartoons. Oh, if you
Yes.
haven't seen any of them, please, do yourself a favor and watch them.
And
But
the
yeah,
reboot of DuckTales was amazing.
yes,
The Doctor Who guy, what's his name? Was
David Tennant.
David Tennant was the voice of Scrooge. He was
Yeah,
awesome.
he was really great. So this story basically is the formation of the team, and it's very, very strange. Why don't you talk about it? Because I read it and I enjoyed it. It really was like watching the old cartoons.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because when he was talking, like when I saw the Darkwing plane and I saw the bike and I saw all of the stuff, I was really transported back to watching the show. So, and Darkwing Duck was one of my favorites out of all of the Disney properties that came out around that time. Aside from Rescue Rangers, that was actually my favorite.
Chip and Dale.
Yep.
Did you watch the new animated?
Of course, I watched it.
It's so good.
It was.
So the writer of this was Roger Langridge, which he's been around for a very long time.
Very long time.
The artist and colorist was Carlo Loro. Jeff Eckelberry was the letterer. And the main cover was done by Mirka and Dolfo. And it is put out by Dynamite Comics. So I just want to put a little side note. This week we were supposed to be reviewing the brand new Thundercats. But unfortunately, Dynamite Comics does their only business is through Diamond Comics. And we stopped doing Diamond Comics a year ago. So I have to get my Dynamite Comics secondhand. And they're not here yet. So next week, we will be reviewing the brand new Thundercats, which I'm really excited to read.
Yep, and I got it. So
Good.
I have it.
Good,
I have it ready to go.
Good.
So
then we got this in because it came out a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I want to read this. And then also the next book up we'll be doing is another book I love. And I'm like, you know what? Let's give Dynamite some love.
Yep.
And so here we are.
Yeah, they're Disney properties. I was because I don't want to be one of those like hoity-toity, I only read, sophisticated, comic books.
You got to have some fun once in a while.
Exactly. And these were fun. And I'm glad that someone, was given the ability to write these properties and actually bring them back to the forefront, because I tell you, nostalgia is and being a 90s kid and growing up with this stuff, I was very happy to sit down and literally turn my brain off and not have to worry about which clone this was, what multiverse we're in, any of that.
How this fits in.
Yeah, I didn't. I was able just to sit down and read it, and I thought the writing was top notch. The art really fit that Saturday morning comic book aesthetic. It was a cartooning. It was a cartooning style, but it really flowed, and it was very colorful. Just a really strong debut for a Justice League sort of title. And Gargoyles is coming out too. And yeah, I'm actually gonna pick that one up too, because unfortunately, I never got into Gargoyles. It was
same. I didn't either.
But now, because of the new comic book coming out, I was like, you know what? And I saw the interview on the expo that we had a couple weeks ago, that the experience had a couple weeks ago. I saw that, and so I wanted to be all like, hey, I want to see what's going on with this. So I'm going to read it as well, and we're going to review it. But yeah, I thought this Justice Ducks was really, really good. Same thing with the next one, which is Lilo and Stitch. That was the next Dynamite one that we read, and I had no idea this was coming out. Actually, I've
been looking forward to this for a while.
Because I haven't seen Lilo and Stitch in a very long time, but I thought this one, the writer was Greg Pak, who has written all kinds of stuff. Oh my lord, that's a really big Stitch.
This was my Valentine's Day present from my beardy.
Wow, because
I love Stitch. Like, we collect Stitch stuff, so I was excited for Lilo and Stitch coming out.
Yeah, and then the artist was Julia Giacomo. Yeah,
Giacomino.
Yeah, Giacomino. Thank you. And the letterer was Jeff Eckelberry. Love that last name. And the main cover was by Josh Middleton, which was great. I thought the artist fully captured that original comic book style of
cartoon.
Sorry, the original cartoon style. And I've always thought that the Hawaiian style that they chose for Lilo and Stitch, which was very controversial at the time because of how quote unquote ethnic they looked. Everything is rounded. If you notice, there's not that many sharp angles or 90-degree angles in anything. And that was done on purpose, and it softened everything up in that cartoon. And the way that they were able to pull that into the artwork was great. It started off really strong. It continued on. It's not complicated. It's for all ages. I loved the family dynamic that they showed in Lilo and Stitch. It's just good to have a counterbalance to all of the craziness that's going on in comics, with how everything is so dire in comics, nowadays. It's good to showcase comics like this, that allow the reader to breathe and really experience something that's different than another multiversal threat or another, vampire outbreak or whatever. I really enjoyed these books, and I'm glad that you wanted to review them. So what do you think of Lilo and Stitch, sir?
I will tell you after the break.
Oh, it is time for a break.
It's go out. Time already.
Sorry, I was really into it. Like I was very seriously, I was very surprised at how much I really liked these books. Like, yeah. But again, Rich is right. It is break time, and we will see you right after this.
Symphonic verses, nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming dead by sleep.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula: you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Geek Chat. You are watching us on The Experience. I am Rich.
I'm Dez.
And be sure to head to comicshoppingexperience.com to see what is on, when is on, who is on. Get all your great stuff there and sign up with the mailing list. Yeah, so we were just talking about Lilo and Stitch and Justice Ducks, and Des touched on one of the reasons why I wanted to review and read them. It is something different that a lot of people aren't open to. I don't want to say open to. They might not know about it. We want to let you know that if you ever were a fan, and you don't have to be embarrassed to be a fan. I am a 187-year-old man, and I love Stitch. Like, there's just something about the character that has always related to me. I think he's an angry little thing that just knows he wants to belong. And I think that was me growing up. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
We have the president of Dynamite Comics is the founder of the Experience Network. He didn't tell us to review this. This is two things, and the same with Thundercats, which, let me tell you, I am very excited to read. Much like Cobra Commander, the G.I. Joe books, there is a 90s and 80s nostalgia within us that excites us.
But good stuff. Good nostalgia.
Yeah, a good one. Yeah. So when it came to these, I was excited for Lilo and Stitch as soon as they announced it. I ordered my foil cover right away. I also am a sucker for covers, especially variant covers, and there was a foil variant for Lilo and Stitch I had to have. And I was like, you know what? Let's read it. Because last week, if you watched our show last week, I didn't like much.
No.
This week was a little different. This week, as cranky as I am, I enjoyed reading these two books. The Justice Ducks, I had to do some Wikipediaing. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
Yeah, I did not know who Neptunia was.
She showed up really briefly.
I had to read. I'm like, is this Aquaman? Like, what?
I mean, it's a rip on Aquaman. But the funny thing about it is how Aquaman gets no love. She is all in the front. You know, she's like this. She reminds me of like a little black woman that's like, you know, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Blah, blah, blah. You know,
Yes.
I totally got that. She's like a little Nell Carter of the sea. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
yeah,
So I really enjoyed both of the books, and I gotta say, if you have a comic book store near you and you want something as a palate cleanser after reading something, just read these two books. The art was spectacular. Both issues are new reader friendly. My only
yeah,
complaint with Justice Ducks is I needed a who's who roll call something.
yeah.
I needed that.
That's a great idea. Like if they had a done a who's who like DC, sort of like what Ghost Machine did for their characters. I think if they'd have did that for this, I think that really would have helped.
Or even a
So
one-page intro, like the old Justice League used to do with a roll call.
yeah,
I just needed something because you know what? I shouldn't have to go to Wikipedia to find out who characters are.
I
That was my
agree.
only complaint about both of these books. And I mean, you got to know who Lilo and Stitch is. But both books did a great job of, like you said, Justice Ducks put the team together, and Lilo and Stitch just presented a brand new episode, I'll say. This could be a cartoon.
Yeah.
And it
And
is
this
a
was afterwards too, after the movie. So this is like the continuing adventures of. And
yeah, I love both of them.
Yeah.
So on to our next book.
Uh, I
I want to know why you chose this to read.
Black History Month, 100%.
All right.
We rep Samuel Jackson and we rep Mace Windu, especially after the deplorable way he was treated in the prequel. Deplorable. Deplorable. He was the only one that had sense in the whole thing and gets disrespected by Anakin. I was so done with that.
Stop.
I literally almost got up and walked out of the theater. I was like, what? What? So even though this is a prequel and it takes place before all that, I really wish that we would get just how they did Obi-Wan or they did Kenobi. If they did Windu, oh my god, so many people would be in there. And
Who do you think would play him?
Samuel Jackson, an
He is
old
cool to do a prequel.
That's what I mean. He's supposed to be. It would be no. If they were to make a TV series like The Mandalorian, but set after, after all that,
Okay.
and they brought in Samuel Jackson as a grizzled old, Jedi, Mace Windu, and have that and actually have it be that he's actually one-handed because he holds that, like he never got a prosthetic in the future because everyone has prosthetics now, but he never got that because it's a sign of how he failed or something like that, and it's a redemption arc. Like, I would so watch that. I would so read that. I would so just be so invested on him coming back into it. This kind of lone wolf and cub is basically the Mandalorian. But if we did like a one-armed swordsman, like if you're familiar with kung fu movies and stuff like that, there was the one-armed swordsman, and he was like, seeking revenge because he only had one arm and stuff like that. But it was fantastic. If they were to do something like that, I would watch it 100%. But that's not what this is. This is a prequel. And even in the front, it says a mission before the rise of the Separatists and the Clone Wars. So this is younger Mace Windu out doing stuff for the Jedi Council. And the writer was Mark
Bernardin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The penciler was Georges
Genty.
Genty. Yeah. The inker was Dexter Vines. The colorist was Andrew Delhouse. And the letterer was VC's Joe Caramanga. We need to have Joe Caramanga on the show. Joe, if you're watching, get in touch with our agents. We
have loved your stuff forever.
Seriously. Like we
go
love stuff.
Go back and watch some of those old
listen to
chats.
Listen to the old Geek Chat.
Listen to.
Yeah. I guess you can watch some of them. But anyway, this is basically what this is this is a hide and seek #1. And I like to say hide and seek #1 because that's basically what it is. You get it, you have like the end of a mission to show his abilities. then they go on to a new mission, which is the crux of the story. It's a regular trope that they do every time, and you get to see him display some of his Jedi powers, and then there has to be some MacGuffin or something that is driving the plot. And this happens to be he has to find a woman thief or smuggler, who has found a type of engine that makes ships go super fast. And if the pirates, or bad people get a hold of it, they could, make faster robberies and get away quicker. And so the Jedi Council decides they have to do that, and she's kind of broadcasted out for everyone to come to this hidden ice planet thing in order to find her, and some people are going to try to steal it from her, some people are going to try to barter with her, and Mace is there to find her and stop her from getting this. So it's a very basic by the numbers story, with not a lot of twists and turns just yet. I think it's because this is the number one, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. I think the art is strong. I thought the story gave you just enough to get you somewhat invested, but I really have to see a number two in order to make sure that I really am invested in this book, because the Star Wars books are very hit or miss right now. They're very hit or miss. So what are your thoughts?
I was happy to see Georges Jeanty's art. I have been a fan of his. The first time I read his was a long time ago with Weapon X. It was some one-shots, Sauron, Marrow. I cannot remember all of them, but I just remember his art being very distinct, and it's not like anything I had read before. And then he was very successful on the Buffy run from Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes his art was very, very strong, and sometimes it was a circle with two dots for eyes. And we get a little of both in this issue. And I opened it up and I was like, oh my God, it's him. I love his art. He has a very distinct art style in that so he was known on Buffy for drawing the people to look like Buffy characters.
Yeah.
That is one of his strong styles. So here, I actually, in some of the panels, see Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, which is great.
It's the thing I also like is, I don't know how him and the writer do this, but the panel layouts are very strong in some of these. Like when she's falling and she hits the power lines and she trips
over that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the motion. And he's been around for a very long time, so he understands how comic panels should be laid out. And I think that's one of the for me, like you said, the story was very 1 + 1 +, like it was very by the numbers. So this book really did it with the art for me. And I got to say, the Dexter Vines and Andrew Dahlhaus being the inker and the colorist, the three of them really worked well in telling this story.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not a story I'm going to read because I don't care.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, there was nothing so much that made me really sit up and take notice.
And especially after, now I don't read the Star Wars comic books, but I watched the TV shows, and the writing in this was very by the book comic book. I mean, that's nothing. Was it for me it was about the art. I mean, if you're a fan of the character, pick it up, but I probably will not be reading the rest of this.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will pick up the number 2 because I want to see where it goes.
Oh, I also thought, I thought it was just going to be a one shot. It's a thick book. I thought it was going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
No,
it just had one long ass beginning.
Yeah, it's I don't know how long it's going to run. I mean,
Marvel no longer puts one of anymore,
so we don't know how long it's going to be. I assume they're going to complete the first run, see how it goes, and then decide they're going to continue it. I mean, it's not. I mean, come on, we know why it came out in February, so Let's be honest.
Did you know that Georges Genti is also a black man?
I did not.
I did not either. I looked him up today because I was like, I know he's been doing art for a very long time. And I looked him up and I was like, he's done a lot of stuff that I have read.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the experience is right. Rich does like thick bucks.
I do.
And he cannot lie.
I cannot.
And yeah, I can kind of see, the book, him looking across between Sam Jackson and Bruce Lee a little bit. I want to see some Bruce Lee moves, but we haven't got that yet. So.
No.
But the one book that we did get that was really, really good was Ultimate Black Panther #1. So if you were lucky enough to get a copy, at a regular price and not an exorbitant price, then you know what we're talking about. 100%. This ultimate relaunch is been fantastic so far. I mean, this is, if you're gonna create something new, this is how you do it. Damn. Just damn.
All right. So, writer was Brian Hill. The artist, and I have loved this artist from the beginning, Stefano Caselli.
Yep.
One of the best books he did was Secret Warriors. That was where
no one read.
No, sadly. I did. We did.
I did. It was great.
Color artist was David Curiel. The letterer was VC's Corey Pettit. And that main cover was done by Caselli and Curiel.
Yep.
And they did a whole bunch of variant covers, including a spoiler-filled one, which I wanted to get to the experience and I didn't. I got an avalanche of comic books.
Please don't die.
I won't. So let me take it out of the package.
Is that the Storm one?
This is the spoiler one that gave it away. I mean,
that's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those. They were all gone.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't think I was ever as excited for a variant as I was to get this.
So I'll tell you, 100%.
Yeah.
When I saw that there was a Storm-like character in X-Men, May Storm, and she was Asian, I was like, "Oh, whoa, we're getting an Asian Storm," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
No,
but because and then I thought, okay, maybe it's like Wind Dancer type of character.
So remember, everyone, we do spoilers because we're going to be talking about this book big time right now.
Yeah.
And I just want everyone to know that spoilers are coming out.
Yeah, so throw up that spoiler.
Yeah.
You don't want to get spoiled, But yeah, I was very surprised that, because I didn't know anything about this book. 100%. I've tried very hard not to know anything. So when the end popped up and we get this new retelling of Killmonger and Storm as freedom fighters.
But it's not Storm.
Well,
it's the Wind Rider.
Well, yeah, we don't know who it is yet. It's he just says, "To me, my love," and show them, and then she kind of shoots lightning down. And I'm like, oh damn, fantastic. I think everything looks great. What were your thoughts on the state of Wakanda and how everything is being tied in to the much larger narrative that Brian Hickman is creating?
Jonathan
Brian Hickman. I'm thinking of Brian.
Brian Hill is the writer of this book.
All the names start to.
I know. So I am enjoying this brand new. We talked about it a little bit with Ultimate Spider-Man, but I'm enjoying a brand new universe with brand new ideas. It's not a retelling. It's not a rehash. This isn't something that they are just taking, except I will tell you one of my little pet peeves about this book. Why did the throne room have to look like the movie? That bugged me. I think they should have redesigned. They've redesigned everything else. Redesign that throne room. It did not need to look like Black Panther 2. That bugged me a little. I
do think though that they are borrowing with some of the ideas from the Ultimate Universe. Sorry, from the MCU. And I think that they're trying to make it a little more quote unquote modern, and that's one of the ways that they were able to kind of tie it in. And maybe it was just like a little tongue in cheek to the movies, or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I do like the fact that this new Black Panther is not. We're getting a brand new look at the family dynamic. I'll say that. Did you notice the mother is missing?
Yep, and the father was killed in the first issue. I
Correct.
was very surprised by that, because I thought, okay, we're gonna keep, his father as a mentor or something. Because if you notice, they set up this weird this power struggle between T'Challa's more modern and future centric ideas versus the old traditional ways
With the magic, and they
with the
made
magic and stuff like
they
that.
made a very strong point of saying, "I will listen to you, but I'm not following you."
Yeah, I'm not going to follow you if I don't want to. And I think that
Correct.
was the one thing that I was like, oh damn, T'Challa's like, I am my own man. I'm not going to kowtow to anybody.
And they really are following this Wakanda first.
Yep.
Because in the book, smaller towns around are being taken down big time.
By Ra and Khonshu, who are men, because I guess in every the one thing that the giant Illuminati for this world, for the Ultimate Universe, is trying to basically take over this stuff. That's what the big looming thing that's happening.
And it's right on the cover. It's
Yep.
right on the cover of this with the moon and the Eye of Ra.
Yeah,
They are
the villains.
the villains of this book. And he
Which-
even says we're going to war with the Moon Knight.
Yeah, so that's why I want to see if we're gonna get a crazy version of Mark Spector now, or like, what is that like? I don't know who a champion of Raw is from the comics, so I don't know if there is a champion of Raw. All I know is when you start mentioning Khonshu and you start mentioning the Moon Knight, that means like you're already setting it up. So at some
Right.
point we're gonna see a version of Mark Spector, and I want to know, if is Mark Spector gonna be black now? It's one of the people that we saw, the guy that had the crescent moon on his forehead. Is that Mark Spector? Is that his avatar? Like it left so many questions that that made me want to pick up the next book. That made me like,
Yes.
I was like, what is going on? And then that romance between T'Challa and
Okoye.
Okoye. I was like, what? And then
Married. Wife.
and they sleep in separate beds. I was
Well,
like,
just like the bunkers. I mean, the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It was, I guess it was because of her station.
Not the
because
bunkers.
Archie Bunker. Oh, you're talking about Ozzy and Harriet?
Was it not?
It was
Someone.
Ozzy and Harriet.
Yeah.
As well as the Cleavers did too. So yeah, the 50s were weird. You can contest to that, right? You're around.
Yes.
But no, I was just looking at it, and then Shuri, all young, trying to like, we need to fight.
Yeah,
So-
she's but I liked what her second in command was like. You build us it, we'll use it.
Yeah, you build us
So
something
they've made
beautiful.
Shuri even bigger in this
Mhm.
with the fact that she's very smart and she's
So-
the builder.
What do you think about that? Because that is directly taken from the MCU version of Shuri. Are you okay with that rendition of her?
So far, yes.
Okay.
Because unfortunately they had to, and the Ricardos, yes, Paul.
Yes.
They had, what else are you gonna do with her? You either gonna make her smart or make her dumb. Were they gonna make her warlike? Like I think that would be something if she wasn't more technological but more brutal.
Savage. I mean, she could be both though. Like if she's building this massive weapon that they're going to use, she could be this like tech forward, super brutal person.
That'd
Like,
be cool.
I really hope that it doesn't, like, one of the things that I fear is that she's gonna hook up with Killmonger and Storm, and it's gonna be this weird triangle between the three of them because Killmonger says, your gods and your hidden people are not going to protect you, but we will.
Right.
So there are these freedom fighters that are out there, and I wonder what's gonna happen. Like, is Killmonger and T'Challa going to be allies? Is there going to be some weird, like, how the women are positioned in the story, and how they are positioned in readers' minds given the history of the characters? It seems like this is ripe for some sort of sexual tension or sexual triangle of intrigue between Storm and T'Challa, or Suri and Killmonger, or someone, and then Okoye, and like, so it seems like there's going to be some weird dynamic. Okay, so Experience says pop up video fact: the avatar of Ra in the comics was the Sun King. Real name unknown. That was the. Oh, really? So that's funny because the Sun King was Ethan Hawke in the TV version of Moon Knight. That character was the Sun King. Okay, so maybe we will see a Sun King version. So maybe we're going to see the Moon Knight, and the Sun King fight together against T'Challa and all of them.
Maybe.
I am excited for this series, and I am super excited for X-Men. I think this initiative, or this new line, is great.
What do you think of the redesign for Killmonger?
I thought it looked great. I thought the Killmonger looked great. I think that Aurora Storm looked great. I think everything looked great. You saw the Dora Milaje. Their color scheme was pretty good, and then they had the blue ones, which were the I can't remember their name. The dark one. I can't remember their name. The head Dora Milaje. They had the purple costume on. I can't remember what they're called, but it was like a weird kind of power suit. They were in the movie as well, the Black Panther 2 movie.
And then the very last panel, we see the new. Well, we see it on the cover, but the redesign for the Black Panther,
which looks great. Although I don't know, the one thing that I'm not so sure about is having his mouth exposed. I don't know about that. That's the one thing. It's giving me weird like fetish mask thing going on right now, and I really wish they would have taken that out. I don't think the mouths need to be there, Or if you're gonna do it like that, do like a sort of pseudo Batman type thing. I know people would say like, oh, it looks just like Batman, but that thing with the lips, that's the one thing that that might need to go or something.
I don't know. It was very strong, number one. Again, unfortunately, if you want to pick this up, I would just say don't pay the exorbitant prices.
Yeah.
Wait for that second printing. Go to your local comic book store, request a copy, say, I want a copy of the second printing. Very excited. So far they're 2 for 2. So we'll be reviewing X-Men, Ultimate X-Men #1 by Peach Momoko next month. And I can't wait. I know. But is May Storm connected to the Wind Rider? We will have to wait.
Could be cousins. Who knows? But what time it is? It's time for bathroom breaks. So please, go fill your water, release your bladder, but come back, please, because we still have another 30 minutes, okay? So we'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming dead by sleep.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Hey, welcome back. You are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I am Beardy Rich.
And I'm Baby Beardy.
So, you are watching us on The Experience, and I want to let you all know that the Thursday lineup, we're gaining someone next week.
Oh.
Yes, so next Thursday at 8 a.m., 11 a.m., Jam Comics. We're going to welcome them to The Experience. They're going to be having a live sales show, Vintage Comics. Be sure to watch them. And then the lineup continues with Dan Wickline's show, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. What's in the Box with Miss Jen? She had a lot of Aftershock number ones, really good deals on some number ones earlier today. She is at 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. You've got the Geek Chat on at 5 o'clock. And then Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. They follow us. Tonight's guests is they're bringing Hawaii to The Experience. So it's a whole bunch of people. Napua Hina, Connie Jolitz, Drew Gutierrez. They're launching their first campaign called Dracula 1944. And they're going to be joined by Hawaiian artists John Murakami and Michael Cannon. And I apologize to anyone if I butchered your name too bad. But be sure to watch Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. They're going to have some giveaways. It's going to be a great show. And then remember, head to Comic Shopping Experience to see what's on the rest of the week, because there's live shows on every day of the week on The Experience.
Yay.
Yay. And thank you for watching us. We love you guys watching us. We love what we're doing. I feel like poo, but we're still doing it.
We're still here having fun,
Yes.
talking to all y'all beautiful folks. Wanted to say our next comic is a wonderful walk down memory lane.
Oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling well, JD.
Yeah. So Wolverine, Matapor Nights is a book that I don't know who asked for it.
Hey, give Chris Claremont some work. Shut up.
Yeah. So it's so editor's note, really big right at the front. The story takes place shortly after Uncanny X-Men 268. If you don't know what 268 is, it was the issue in which Captain America, Wolverine, and Black Widow are in Matapor, and they have a fantastic one shot. It was right off the heels of the Acts of Vengeance, in which Mastermind had turned Betsy into made her a ninja, basically, with the body shop and all that stuff like that. Ooh. So this picks up right after that that story. So it's a really fantastic story. Jim Lee's art is on point like no one else. It is a fantastic issue.
And it's one of the incarnations of Black Widow I actually really like.
Yeah.
I loved this costume.
Yeah, the great costume. With the
I love this era of her. I hate her now, but I loved the era of Black Widow. Then.
The red pixie cut she has. Everything was fantastic. So the writer is Chris Claremont. The artist is Edgar Salazar. The color artist is Carlos Lopez, and the letter is VC's Corey Petit. Thank you. Hi. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you for being here. So, what were your thoughts, Rich?
Okay. So are you ready for this? I actually enjoyed reading a book about the X-Men, and there was no Fall of X Orcus crap going on. It was nice to read a Chris Claremont book with so many damn word boxes and word bubbles and thoughts. And oh my God, Jubilee reminding Wolverine how many times she saved him, because I'll help remind you people, he was on a cross and she helped him down and she saved his life. And that's why we got Jubilee, unfortunately. It was nice to see Black Widow kicking butt. It was nice to have a Psylocke that wasn't so strong. She was not the Psylocke we're used to. I really enjoyed this book. I couldn't believe, I was like reading it and I was like, oh my God, there's no Nimrod, there's no Orcus, there's no Moira. It's set in Madripoor. I loved Patch. I remember that X-Men book or the Wolverine book with Patch, and I was like, so he has an eye patch, he's called Patch, and no one knows he's Wolverine. Okay, I'll go with it. Hell, if Clark Kent can wear glasses and no one knows he's Superman, I can believe that a dude with pointed hair isn't Wolverine. Okay, this was nostalgia again, much like Lilo and Stitch. I was like, I kind of was happy with this book, and Chris Claremont got some work. Yay! Hey, Edgar Zala, how do you name? Can we put
Edgar Salazar
book, like, the art was very strong.
Yeah,
you did not feel that way at all.
It's not that, okay. It's not that I didn't feel that way. It's that this book reminds me how far we have come, and sometimes you just can't go back.
No,
you just can't go back. Like hearing all of the existential dialogue from like that whole scene where Betsy was like, I'm gonna use my telepathy, on them. Oh, it doesn't work on them. I'm gonna use my side knife. Oh, dumb Betsy. Of course it doesn't work. I'm like, I'm gonna fight him the old-fashioned way. And I'm like, she pulls out her katanas, and I was like, what? I mean, it was just like it was classic Claremont. And at this point, I think he knows that he's a meme, and he's just like, I'm just gonna lean into it. Into it. I don't know why we needed this book. I will agree with you though that it is a breath of fresh air from all of the super what's the word? Super dramatic and overly just bombasticness of the X-Men right now, given all of the events that are happening. It seems like everything that's going on is life or death. Someone's dying. It's like this, and it's been like that for a couple months now. Like it seems like this fall of X is never going to end. Like it literally feels like an endless pit that we're all falling in. And
I'm gonna say, let's switch the books. So JD, if you could put up the X-Men 31, because we might as well talk about these two books together.
Okay, that's fine. And just how contrasted they are, because they are so different. Like the language, the atmosphere, the feeling, the pacing. It's just a different storytelling. It's just a different storytelling style.
Okay, so let's get this out of the way. You're looking at X-Men 31. It is Jerry Duggan, writer, Phil Noto, artist, VC's Clayton Cowles, letter, and the cover was Joshua Cassara and Marte Gracia. Now, I read,
Great cover.
It is a great cover. I love Kasara's art. So going back to the Wolverine Madripoor Nights, it's funny because when you read this and then you read X-Men, yeah, you definitely feel like they're written at the same time. They are from two different worlds though. And I gotta be honest, I enjoyed the Wolverine book more than I enjoyed the X-Men book.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It seems like this X-Men book, it really seems like tying up loose ends, and they're
Oh, not
like,
even that. It's just we've read this before.
yeah, and like Nimrod is so dumb, and the way that they're fighting, they just send Nimrod, to defeat all of them, and then the one thing that I did like about it was Sync having to say goodbye to Laura. Like
Yeah.
I thought that in itself
Spoilers.
that in itself had some like, I felt really bad about that, and I really felt like, okay, that's where the heart of the story is, because that battle with Nimrod was so weak and it was so like boring, and I don't know what Kamala Khan is bringing to the table. Like, I don't
She wasn't
know.
even in the fight.
No, all she did was save a human who was on the mutant side. She saved him from being electrocuted or something. And I don't know how they changed locations, because they were on a roof and then they were in the street
And they're in an
and
alley.
and I think that I in my brain canon, Nightcrawler teleported them down.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know what was going to see. That's what I mean. It seems like the one thing that I'm getting from this event is we got to put something out there and we got to rush. It feels, this whole fall of X-Men seems so rushed, and it seems so forced, and it seems so inorganic that it's just bad right now. And then to read this Wolverine Madripoor Nights that's just harkening back to a much simpler time. And don't get me wrong, Chris Claremont had some doozies too. This is just coming off of the heels of the Siege Perilous and all the stuff in Australia, but it never felt forced. It never felt like he was rushed for any of this stuff. And you could definitely tell in damn Madripoor Nights, that man was not rushed. The man, like, there were certain scenes, like, the man needs an editor is what he needs, because and I don't think people probably don't feel comfortable editing him because of how his name or whatnot, because I literally think at this point they just let that man write whatever he wants to write. Like,
They
seriously.
They should. So I had some problems with X-Men 31 because it's already been established last month in Amazing Spider-Man and in its own other books that Typhoid Mary was reunited with Kingpin. Those pages were unnecessary in this book.
100% agree.
And why is Spider-Man a mutant in this book? Why did Nimrod say that?
Yeah,
that was unnecessary.
I don't get it. It just seems like, again, they're just putting crap out there to get it done.
Yeah, I did not. I love the X-Men. I love the X-Men, but this book needs to end. The tie up the loose ends, but this book was not very well done because it made no sense in a lot of ways. Also, when you look at the two books, you have two completely different Wolverines. I mean, one doesn't have a healing factor, fine, but I don't know if how long you've been reading X-Men for, but I remember when Nimrod first appeared.
Oh yeah, I read that.
And I remember the
Beautiful.
Hellfire, and it was basically Rogue on her own, and she absorbs the powers of Colossus, Nightcrawler.
Beautiful.
Yes, and
the way she looked,
Shadowcat. Yes. Now Nimrod has a memory. We know this. So when Shadowcat with a K tries to do her thing, and I don't know why Wolverine's just trying to claw at him. Like, does Duggan not go back? Or I don't necessarily say every writer has to, but when you're gonna fight a living computer who has a memory and I don't know the word. He's always thinking of new ways.
It's
to
always
defeat them.
adapting.
Yeah, adapting. You would think, well, I don't know, you would send in Ms. Marvel or someone that Nimrod hasn't faced before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that Sync ended up coming in and saving the day
For like a minute and then
for like
bounced
a
out.
minute. Yes.
I was just like, ugh.
I don't know.
I don't get it. I really believe that this was rushed. I think this whole event was rushed. I think they just basically said, "Hey, it's been 5 years. It's time to refresh. It's time for a refresh. Let's get it done." And then on top of all that, we get another X-Men Forever. And I'm like, "What?" And that's like the return of Jean, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what's going on, sir. I have no idea what's going on.
I just wish the writer maybe thought of some new ways to develop Nimrod into either the badass he's supposed to be, or let the X-Men make a cut somewhere.
Yeah. It just seemed he just seemed so dumb, As for a computer, he just seems so dumb.
Yeah, I have to agree. So I don't know what book we get next week. Let's take a look. I think it's Rise of the Powers of something or other.
One of the Powers books.
We get Fall of the House of X #2 and Wolverine. So we find out who dies in Wolverine. And that's another thing. How come these books aren't lining up? Wolverine isn't lining up with what's going on in X-Force. This X-Men book isn't lining up with any of the other Marvel titles that Kingpin and Mary have been in. What's going on, Marvel? Get your house in order.
Get your house in order, or we're taking you back to the school.
No.
Okay, so one of the better books that we're going to talk about now, which I really enjoyed.
I love this book.
Is Daredevil Gang War, #3. And out of all the Gang War books, I have to say, I think this is my favorite. 100%.
I'm loving the art. I love this artist.
Is great. Okay, so let's just go over who did what and what did who. Erica Schultz is the writer. Sergio De Villa is the penciler. Sean Parsons is the inker. And Cici De La Cruz is the colorist. The letter is VC's Clayton Cowles. It's cool. If you go to I think it's League of Comic Book Geeks or something like that. If you go there, and you can see what all of the writers and artists looks like.
Really?
They have little mug shots of all of them. It's hilarious. I get to see who everyone looks like.
So I gotta say, I picked up the Paco Medina. I've always been a fan of Paco Medina.
Yeah, I almost got that cover, but I felt the main cover was just so gorgeous.
I had
so
to get
dynamic.
But you were right. I texted him. I read this last week, and I texted Des, and I said, "Hey, you were right." And he's like, "About what?" I'm like, I can't tell you.
And I was like, "You bastard." But yeah, she is the Wolverine clone.
Spoiler.
That was the one she's right on the cover. She was the Wolverine clone that was last seen in the Wolverine X-23 version, and she was the one that left. And out of the 5, I think there's only
4 left.
Yeah. Well, I thought there was only 3. There's Honey Badger, the main Laura, and then her.
Oh, I guess there is only 3.
Yeah, because the old Laura died, and then the third one, or the fourth one. Anyway, there's maybe there's more, maybe there's less. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great, and we got a little bit of representation. I was very happy about that.
Same.
Yeah. Elektra, or Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Elekvol. Deirdre. She saves a gay couple and their 2 sons, because the father is trying to beat off some bandits, and she comes in and she has this, she saves them and has a really nice kind of
interaction
with the family. And then Belladonna attacks, and then they have a fight scene. But
Bellona.
Sorry, Delona. You're right.
No, there's no D. It's Bellona.
Bellona. I thought it was Delona. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, Bellona.
Bellona. Weird name.
Weird name.
So she was asked from Madame Mask to assassinate Elektra. or Daredevil, and that was what she has to do. And so they start, battling. But first, before they do that, she beats the crap out of the owl. And I thought the way that the owl was drawn, fantastic. Just this artist is so good. Like, it's
Yeah,
just,
I want to say some of these panels, I wish we could show you panels because some of these panels of art are just, I really want this writer and artist, Erica Schultz and Sergio Davila, I want them on an X book.
yeah,
I'm selfish. I want them on an X book.
so good.
I
So good.
loved the style. My problem with the owl is why didn't he bring out his claws?
He did.
No.
Oh, sorry. I know talking
He
about
brought out
old
his
Oh,
fingernails.
Yeah, I think
He
that's
has
the
Wolverine
old
claws.
Maybe that they didn't do that because it'd be too crazy if they had two different Wolverine type claws. So he just used his saber-tooth claws. And I was like, okay. I thought he looked cool.
He did.
The one thing that took me
Yes.
out of it, that I thought was kind of unnecessary, but was used to kind of humanize Bologna was the info dump we got right at the beginning. When she was fighting Elektra or Daredevil. That was the one thing that I was kind of like, okay, that was all there to get the reader up to speed.
Yeah.
And I thought that really took me out of the fight. And I knew they had to do that to establish her because people might not know who she is. And so that was necessary to kind of like get the reader up to speed. But as someone who knew the character and kind of knew what was going on, I found that very distracting, having that happen.
She says only 4 of us survived.
Oh, this is 5. Or maybe there's 4.
Only 4 of us survived.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved seeing Kimura in it.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty cool. I like that we got a Wolverine character in Daredevil.
Yeah. But that's the thing though, is Daredevil Elektra. She's Elektra. I'm not going to say Daredevil. That's dumb. She's Elektra. I like when Elektra was trying to talk to her and say, I was used by the Hand too. So they tried to find that common ground, and then she bounces out, and I thought, okay, something's going to happen there. Maybe we're going to get a secondary story with Elektra, and maybe, these two are going to form a bond or something, or there's going to be some weird thing that comes or redemption arc for this character.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that really left me with like, okay, like I want to see what's happening with this character. And I really hope that this book sells enough that we're able to get more of this story or more from this artist and writer. Fantastic. I mean, if you're going to read any of the Gang War stuff, this is the one to read. And again, it's not super over the top and crazy because it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. This is it presents a street level story that is just really grounded and it makes sense. Really great. It's not Gabby Kinney, is it? No. This is the other older version of Laura Kinney. So no. So I guess these are the 2. So that's the 4 then. If you said 4 was alive, so you had the older Laura who was with Sync, who was in the vault.
No. She is from the vault. She's the aged.
Yeah, but she
Laura.
she was one of the Lauras though.
No.
I thought she was one of the Lauras because that would make sense.
Yeah,
because you have that Laura, you have this Laura, the Gabby Kinney, then you have Delona, and then you would have the one that is with Wolverine now.
Mm-mm.
That could be the 4.
Mm-mm.
So
we'll let you know next week.
Irregardless, great story. Out of all of the Gang War stuff, that's the one to read, and it finally references what's going on in Spider-Man at the end, where they says, Madam Mask is amassing, and we're going to have a fight in
and it's off to Central Park
for this big battle in Central Park. I don't know if you've ever been to Central Park. It's pretty big, but it's not like super huge. So I wonder where they're going to do to it. Poor Central Park. Ooh.
I know. Wow, what a great show. We only had one real stinker, and unfortunately it was a book I love.
Yeah. But what do you expect? I think this is really good from a step up from last week. But I did want to say, if you're in San Francisco and you love comic book anthologies, Desmond, is going to be at the San Francisco Library for Pride in Panels. It is a San Francisco comic queer fest on Sunday, February 18th, 2024. And it's at the San Francisco Library. And when it happens, you will be able to see me as I wrote a small little Andrew. I actually drew. I drew a comic in the anthology. The anthology is titled "We Belong," and it is a collection of queer sci-fi and fantasy stories by queer Black writers and artists. So it's all about representation. It comes out of Black History Month, as queer African Americans are part of it as well. That's the ad for it. Please, if you're in San Francisco or in the Bay Area, you can come to the San Francisco Library. It's really easy to get to. It's like Civic Center Station. I'm going to go by and see Rich. He will be working, unfortunately, so he won't be there, but I'm going to go by and see him and bug him at work. But I will be signing there at 2 p.m. And the book, again, is titled We Belong. So I really hope
connection to Mariah Carey.
No connection. Oh, my God. Don't even get me started on the Grammys. Oof. Speaking of. But I do hope that you're able to join me there and get a copy. It was a labor of love for me. I've written comics for a very long time. Paul says it is from noon to 5 or 6 p.m. I will be there.
That's a cool cover.
That's the cover. I'll be there at 2 o'clock for signing at the booth. I probably will get there at around 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock to look around and see everybody and say hi. Dodge the paparazzi. Oh, paparazzi. But I do hope that you can join us. So I can't wait.
Stay tuned for next Thursday's show. The first part of the show will be all about Madam Web, because we are going to see Madam Web on Wednesday. We're having a double date for Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's crazy. I'm not scared about it. It's going to be fine. I'm more scared about the double date. Rich eats all the popcorn. We get nothing.
You get nothing.
But we'll say thank you all for taking the time to stop and join us. And we cannot wait to talk about Madam Web. Also, wanted to say if you are I was going to say something. Oh, and it just completely messed my mind.
It's that age.
It is that age. Oh no! Stay tuned, because we have Meg and Mog and Mel.
Sketch up with Mog and Mel
is right after us at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock Eastern. So
10 o'clock Eastern.
All righty. So we'll see you all next time, everybody. Okay. Thank you. Bye.